Alright, hello everybody, it's Brian. Today we are going to take this film and put it in this tank. This is the most aggravating, frustrating part of developing black and white film at home, is getting the film from the cartridge into the tank. So I'm going to show you how to do that today, and here we go. Alright, so let's put this aside. What I'm using is a Paterson Super System 4 Universal Developing Tank. It's the same tank I learned on as a kid. They've been making these things forever, and that's just what I use. And Paterson makes a number of different kinds of tanks. This one will hold 2 rolls of 35 millimeter or 1 roll of 120. I shoot 35, so I like being able to develop two rolls of 35 millimeter simultaneously. All right, so everything I'm about to show you must take place within a changing bag. This is the changing bag that I use, a Paterson large changing bag, 70 by 70 centimeters. Again, this is just sort of the standard changing bag that I learned on as a kid. They've been making these things forever. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just get yourself one of these. You could do it in a completely dark room, but given that the tiny amount of light that's required to ruin your film, I'd be just stick with the bag, my advice. But hey, you do what you want. I hope this is helpful to you. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Here's what we need. You need the bag. You need the tank. You need the film, obviously. You need a pair of scissors, preferably a small pair of scissors you can put in your bag, and you need some kind of a bottle opener. You're going to use a bottle opener to open your film cartridge. This is what I use. I use one of these, but you can use pretty much any kind of bottle opener. You can use this kind of bottle opener and open the film like so. I mean, that'll work. You could use a keychain style bottle opener and just open the film this way. I mean, that'll work. That's fine. Again, any old bottle opener is fine. And we're going to open up this and get it onto the reel. I'll tell you what, why not show you what's in the tank? Let's do that. All right, so you got your Paterson tank, and excuse me. Here's what you get. So here's your tank. It's got a rubber lid. By the way, all of this, everything in here goes into the bag. It all goes into the bag. The only thing you can leave out of the bag is the second reel. That's it. Other than that, all this goes into the bag. So you got your rubber top. You got the plastic funnel top. And this, by the way, creates a light tight seal in the tank. When you close the tank like so, you give it a twist, you hear the click. There you go. You hear that click or that snap, and the tank is now light tight. Although I personally will always put on the rubber cap just in case, unless I'm pouring chemicals. Just, maybe I'm paranoid, but whatever. Although this is light tight right now. So you got your funnel top, and inside the tank you got 2 reels and a spool. The first reel you load is going to be your bottom reel. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. The reels are interchangeable. The reels are identical. You can swap the reels around. It doesn't matter which goes on top, which goes on bottom. But you load one at a time. And I always keep the spool in the reel when I'm loading the first reel, because there's really no reason not to. It's just simple that way. All right, so we got our reel and our film. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to lower the camera a bit and get a little closer, because it's important to see what we got going on here. Okay? All right. So let's move this like so, and like so. And is this in focus? Sort of. I really hope that's close enough. All right, so tank, reel, film. Let's get started. So the first thing you do is you got to get the film out of the cartridge, and you're going to open that up with a bottle opener. It doesn't really matter which end of the cartridge you open first. You could open this end, but this causes a problem for this style of bottle opener. So I just do like so. I grab it right up underneath the lip and just open her up. There we go. That's it. Okay, once you got the top off like that, you're fine. Take it off. There you go. Your film's off, or the top's off. So now you press this and remove the film. Now when you handle the film, This is absolutely crucial. Thou shalt not touch the film. You may only handle the film by the edges, not the surface. Do not touch the surface of the film. Okay, so when you're taking it out, be very careful. You want to take it out only by the edges. Don't put your fingers any further than the sprocket holes. Okay, so you take it out, you take the film out by the edges like so. And now you've got film. Okay, so the first thing to mention is this film has been in that cartridge for a very long time. I accidentally exposed it a while back. It became my test roll, but it's been sitting in that cartridge for quite a while. It was in a camera at one point until I stupidly opened the back by accident in an event which I actually discussed in another video. You can see this film, even though it's it's loose and free, it's tightly coiled. So that's good. You want that. What you have to look out for is if you're developing film immediately after shooting, like you just took your film out of the camera. If the film's been in the camera for a while and it's been on the other side of the camera in the take-up spool, then it will be accustomed to bending the other way. And what's going to happen is when you take it out of the cartridge, it's just going to sprawl all over the place. It will not be a nice tight little spiral like this. It's just going to sprawl everywhere, and that can be kind of a hassle. So I personally, before I will take the film out, before I develop the film, I'll let it sit in the cartridge for a couple of days just to so the shape can conform more to the cartridge, and you get a nice tight spiral like this, or at least something closer to this. Because when it like explodes all out of the cartridge and gets all out of the inside of the bag, that can be kind of a hassle. All right, so now you need to cut it. Now remember, everything we're doing, you're doing blind. Everything I'm about to show you must be done in the bag, completely blind. So what I do is I grab the film by my left hand like so, and I'm going to feel about this much until I've got a bit hanging off. I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm just going to go across and cut. Now, as you're loading the film into the reel, ideally, you do not want to cut across sprocket holes, okay? So once I cut, I can run my finger across here and I can see, well, did I cut across a sprocket hole? Well, I sure did, right here. That may get stuck, it may get hung up, but it might not. It's not an emergency just yet. Don't panic yet. Let's try to get it on the reel. If this snags, then we may have to recut the film. But let's see what we can do. All right, so that's it. That's all I need. My scissors. Well, actually, I will need my scissors again. So let's put the scissors to the side. And I'm going to hold my film in my right hand, again, by the edges. And now I've got my reel. Okay, let me put this down for a second. So the Paterson reel has a distinctive shape. And as you feel along the edge of the reel, you can feel this gate. I'll just call it a gate. Maybe it's a tab or a protrusion. It's the gate through which the film enters into the reel. So I'm just going to call it a gate. Behind the gate, about an inch behind the gate, are two ball bearings, and the ball bearings are necessary for the actuation of the advance mechanism. So you need to get the film past the gates, well, through the gates, and past the ball bearings. So I do that, and again, your hands are in the bag. You got your reel. You're going to feel around, and if you practice, you can tell it's easy. Now here's a little lip here. You don't want to confuse the edge of the lip, which is right here. This is not the gate. That's just the edge of the lip. Don't get it confused. Practice this so you know what you're doing. You need to feel until you feel around to the gate there, and again, get them even. Right? Don't start your film off like this. Make sure the gate is even. Grab your film. All right, and I will take out a little bit like so, and I'm going to squeeze just a bit on this end. Now remember, this is the leader, so actually this has been exposed. I mean, I can touch this with my fingers. I'm not doing anything wrong because this is the film leader. I mean, the first couple inches here are going to be the film leader. So this was already exposed to light. There's no photographs there. So I'm going to pinch this slightly. I've got my reel, and I'm going to pinch it slightly. And I'm going to put it up under the gate like so. And I'm going to advance it I'm going to push it gently with this hand, holding the reel steady. I'm going to push it gently. I'm going to get it past the ball bearings. It is past the ball bearings. That's awesome. Then I'm going to take it and just give it a little tug gently to get it started. So now I've got the film across about half the circumference of the reel. That's a good start, and now I'm going to start winding. So ideally what I like to do is I like to keep my thumbs on the gate right here so that I can feel if there's any problem with feeding the film onto the reel. You will, if it binds up, sometimes you can detect it by touch, by feel, but by the way it's going in. Also, I hold the reel slightly above the table, and such that this is trailing on the table. And it's not, I mean, the film bag it's a pretty clean material, so it's not like you're getting dust and dirt on the film by letting it sit on the tabletop. What I'm calling the tabletop. It's actually your bag is on top of the table. So I'd like doing it this way because as I wind on the film to the reel, when I feel that I no longer have anything dragging behind me on the table, then I know that I'm at the end of the film. Okay, so I'm going to gently do this. And again, this is just an advantage of having the film in the canister for a while. It's nice and tightly wound. When these things, when you take it straight out of the camera and the film sprawls all over the place, it can really be a headache. So I like it when it's nice and tightly wound. It trails behind the reel like so. It stays nice and tight. And as I'm gently advancing the film onto the reel. Okay, do not apply force, no pressure. Gently. Okay. Now feel. I can feel with my thumbs. There's something that's a little uneven there. What's going on? Hold on. Aha. So I'm going to take my roll and just extend it a little bit so that everything's nice and even and smooth. Okay. Again, as we're getting to the end of the roll, I like to. There we go. Keep it. All right. There we go. Advance, advance. Okay, I'm sort of getting to the end here. All right, like so. Advance gently. Again, I can feel that. I mean, I don't even have to open my eyes. I know that I can feel this right here with my thumb because I'm keeping my thumb on the gate. So I'm going to just gently unroll this. Okay. Here we go. Slowly, gently advance. Slowly, gently advance. Keep this flat to the extent possible. Again, keep that flat. Advance. Okay. And hold on. There we go. This is really tight. This film is really tight. It's been on that canister for a long time. Okay, hold on, keep that down. All right. Take your time. Don't rush. It's not a race. Even if you're dealing with a roll of film like this, it's been sitting in the canister for a long time and it's really tight, then you have to keep messing with it to keep it flat going into the gate. No big deal. Take your time. Getting the film bound up on the reel or getting it loaded improperly is the greatest nightmare you will have in the black and white developing process. This is the most nerve-wracking aspect of your process right here. Boy, is this film tight on that reel, on that take-up spool. Okay, all right, here we go. We're at the end. All right, now I can feel we're at the end. This is a bare take-up spool, and this again, this part of film, there's no images on this, nothing. I mean, I'm not. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab my scissors. I'm going to hold the reel like so, and I generally just hold the reel with my thumb and my ring finger, and put my other two fingers right here so I know exactly where this thing is. Insert the scissors and cut, and there we go. That's off. And now I advance the rest of this gently and bingo. All right. Film is on the reel. That's it. That is the hard part. That's the hard part of developing 35 millimeter film right there. We just did it. Then I'm going to put everything back in the tank. I'm going to put the film in the tank. You can put the other reel on top of it. You don't have to, but you do have to use the spool. This spool is necessary to make the tank light tight. So you must put, even if you're only developing one roll of film, you must put the reel on the spool. The second reel, you can put it in the tank or not. That's optional. Put that in. Put your funnel top in. Okay. Turn it. Click. It's now light tight. But again, just for my own paranoid sense of security, I will then put on the rubber top. All right, and that is it. That is it. That is how you get your film from the canister onto your Paterson reel. I hope this was useful. Everything I just showed you must be done in complete darkness. Practice. Get a cheap roll of film, an expired roll of film, whatever the cheapest, most useless roll of film you can find, and practice. A word of caution though. Traditional 35 millimeter film is on an acetate base. It's made on an acetate base. It's called, sometimes you'll see it called triacetate. That is traditional 35 millimeter film. This was a non-issue until very recently. That is in the past, I don't know, say 10 years or so. There's been quite a few new-ish brands of film which are essentially repackaged or relabeled surveillance film, which comes on a polyester base. The polyester base, or a PET base, is much thinner than your traditional acetate base and can be a major hassle on Paterson tanks. If you're going to use polyester base film, my recommendation, learn how to use a steel reel. I never bothered. I don't use that repackaged surveillance film stuff, so it's not an issue for me. But if you want to shoot anything on a polyester base, learn how to use a steel reel. I've got a playlist with other good videos about developing film collected on this channel. Take a look at that playlist. A couple of them go over the process of loading a steel reel, which you'll need to learn to do, which is a completely different skill than what I just showed you. It's totally different. It's and it's a major hassle, in my opinion. That's the hardcore, the quote unquote real man's photography, right? Is loading a steel reel. People say this is like using training wheels. I don't care. It works for me. It's what I learned on. And the black and white films made by Kodak, Ilford, and Foma are all made on an acetate base. So it's just not an issue, and that's what I use. So for me, that's a non-issue. But I did think I'd mention it. Okay, practice this blindfolded, or practice it as many times as you have to get it right. You are going to screw up. There is a learning curve to this. Don't get frustrated. It can be done. Anyone can learn it. It's not that hard. Okay, that's a video for today. Hope this was useful. Take care. Bye-bye.